You wanna know something that was sort of relevant before this movie came out? You know that shirt that Miyamoto wears in every direct for the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Well, I wanted to have that shirt as well, because I thought it looked cool, and I just like simple slap-on movie logos on t-shirts. I wanted to feel honored just for my excitement for this movie, so I found one that was close to what I was getting, which wasn't identical to what Miyamoto was wearing, but it was still something. So I ordered one on eBay, and a few days went by, and this is how it came. It was low quality, and they somehow stressed out the image, and not even bothering to resize it before delivering it, and it bothered me way more than it did, so I ended up returning it, ordered another one, and it arrived to what I was expecting the last time, so all is forgiven, I guess. So yeah, that was something I wanted to share. At least I got it before the movie came out, and I will definitely have a fun time and not let others tell me otherwise. So yeah, this movie has been reviewed not so kindly, which, to be honest, I should have seen this coming, especially with how the first movie was received. Oh, it's just a kids movie, and oh, it's only made for fans of the games. Yeah, well, let me tell you something about both of those statements. For one, I am most likely not the only person who hates whenever someone says something that is animated and just assumes that it's just made for kids. That might be a basic way to describe it, but I feel like we should know by now that animation is something more beyond which people seem to underlook in terms of how it wants to present itself, and a story that resonates with a lot of people, both young and old, and something that connects with one another. And second, and this is something that I've noticed after coming out of seeing Five Nights at Freddy's 2 back in December, about the fact that a movie that it's made for the fans was a phrase that I never thought would be a problem on how much that can affect one's view on how much it can be a nonsensical viewing experience, if nobody outside of that fandom isn't gonna get anything out of that movie in particular. Like, Jesus Christ, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was like that throughout the whole runtime. But with that said, I'm not saying all of that for you to get a different perspective on how you see these video game movies. Like myself, I do like the majority of these past video game movies that we've had in the last few years. Like whatever you want to like in these movies. It's just something that I wanted to point out since I feel it's becoming more apparent, and as a result in some cases, it just lacks any substance on what these video game movies are trying to appeal to. But with that said, again, I had a decent enough time with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Like, there were a lot of things that I thoroughly enjoyed that somewhat kept me engaged, and as much as I was excited to see this movie ever since it was announced, and as the marketing makes it look like it was going to be epic, which, let's be real, it was a bit misleading from what the actual movie has given us. Like, adapting one of the greatest Mario games out there into a movie, I wouldn't know since I've actually never played it, but the amount of stuff I've read about how this movie doesn't feel like a Galaxy movie, and just more of the same like the last movie, but done worse. And I can't believe I'm saying that some of the reviews I've seen were mostly accurate about what's being said about this movie. Like, if anything, they should have kept this Galaxy movie saved for the third movie. You know, it just makes more sense in a story perspective. But you know, I'm not really the only person who thinks that way. This movie just goes by way too fast, and it doesn't take its time to breathe to give each character a moment, and how it's just jumping across to each action sequence to another. But from what I also feel is that it's also slow in some parts too. Like, the pacing of this movie was really all over the place, and so much is going on that it was just too much for my brain to process. The amount of references they cram into this movie were nice, but it was just honestly a little too much for me. Like, it actually gave me a headache after walking out of it. And I don't mean that in an exaggerated way, that's just how I felt after watching it. But some of the things that I didn't think were accurate to what people were saying was that there was somewhat of a story here. For the first half, scratch that, now that I think about it, I feel like they were trying to tell a lot from this movie from Peach's storyline, which was engaging at first, but then it just kinda got resolved in a heartbeat. But I honestly didn't mind it, and I actually kinda liked it. And then there's Bowser Jr., who wants to connect with his dad, and I honestly find the relationship pretty cute. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't really have a problem with these short moments. It was enjoyable, but for the most part, it really killed the pacing a lot on how they played out. And as a result, it makes the movie really unfocused. In fact, that's another thing about this movie. They introduce stuff in this movie that seems to matter at first, but then it gets dropped entirely by the middle of the movie. Like, Yoshi gets introduced in the beginning, and I really like how it was played out. But then Yoshi was just there, not really having a purpose outside of just him being there with the gang. So that was disappointing. But I think his existence was amusing, and I liked it enough, I guess. And Mario and Luigi also didn't really get to do much as a whole. The thing that I liked about the last movie was that Mario actually had an arc. It was pretty surface level, but at least it was an arc. Here, his arc was pretty non-existent, outside of him just having feelings for Peach, and that's basically it. But you know what? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I felt that Rosalina actually did enough for me. Her introduction was pretty cute, and I enjoyed the less or more screen time that she had. Yeah, I would like the bare minimum in terms of how she's used, but I don't know, I didn't mind how she was used in this movie. I think I'm just going into the positives of this movie now, aren't I? As far as the complaints I had for this movie, one of the few saving aspects that kept my attention was how beautiful looking the animation is. Like, it's definitely a step up from the first movie, and there are a few cool sequences on how the animation is done here, and I really liked it. And also all of the action scenes are really well choreographed and well directed, and I still think it's done really well. To no one's surprise. And thank God they got rid of the licensed music in this movie and used the actual orchestral music for this movie, and the fact that they only used one licensed song around the beginning. That's saying something, that that's the only feedback they got from the last movie to not include in this one. But I do wish they would have used the soundtrack a little more. Maybe they did, and maybe I'm just not too familiar with a lot of the Mario music in this movie. I don't know. So at the end of the day, I wasn't disappointed by this movie. There was still a lot of stuff I enjoyed, but all of the problems that I listed were just holding the movie back by a lot as a result of me really wanting to love this movie, but it sadly didn't. It was just okay at best. I did not have a bad time watching it, so in all fairness sis, I'd recommend checking it out if you're just looking for a fun time. Even if you're not really the biggest Mario fan like I am, you'll probably get something out of it, or it'll just leave you writing a nasty review afterwards. I don't know, it's not really my place to tell you how to feel about watching a movie, but like, just be honest and serious about it instead of over-exaggerating it. Oh yeah, Star Fox was cool, I guess. He wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he would, but he was just there for the fans, I guess. And I still wish they would have kept it a secret instead of just them announcing it literally 5 days before the movie came out. So yeah, I'm giving the Super Mario Galaxy movie a 6 out of 10. Would have been better, but at the same time, it could have been a lot worse. But it was still fun.